Have you ever cried in front of your cat? Not just felt a little sad. Not just had a bad day. I mean truly cried. The kind of crying that comes from heartbreak, loss, stress, or a moment when everything feels too heavy to carry. If you have, you've probably noticed something strange. Your cat suddenly stops what it's doing. It doesn't run over like a dog. It doesn't make a sound. Instead, it just watches. Quietly. Patiently. Almost as if it's studying you. Some cats sit nearby. Others slowly approach. A few never take their eyes off you. It's a strange reaction. And it raises a fascinating question. Does your cat know you're sad? Or is it simply confused by your behavior? Scientists have spent years trying to answer that question. And what they discovered changed everything. For decades, many scientists believed cats didn't care much about humans. Unlike dogs, cats were never bred to work closely with people. They didn't guard villages. They didn't follow commands. They didn't depend on humans in the same way dogs did. Because of this, many researchers assumed cats simply tolerated us because we provided food and shelter. The theory sounded reasonable. But there was one problem. Real cats didn't behave that way. If cats don't care about humans, why do they follow us from room to room? Why do they wait by doors? Why do they sleep beside us? And why do they often appear when we're feeling our worst? The more scientists looked, the less the old theory made sense. Something important was being missed. Eventually, researchers decided to test the mystery. They invited cat owners into controlled environments and observed how their cats reacted to different emotional situations. Some owners acted happy. Others remained calm. Some pretended to be upset. At first, the experiment seemed disappointing. Many cats appeared completely uninterested. Some groomed themselves. Others wandered around the room. It looked like proof that cats didn't care. But then scientists noticed something unexpected. The cats weren't ignoring their owners at all. They were watching. Quietly gathering information. And when their owners' emotions changed, many cats changed their behavior too. The discovery shocked researchers. Because it suggested that cats were paying far more attention than anyone had imagined. Cats are masters of observation. While dogs often seek interaction, cats prefer to watch. They study routines, habits, movements, and patterns. In fact, your cat may know your daily schedule better than you do. It knows when you usually wake up. It knows when you leave the house. It knows where you sit and when you eat. Every day your cat builds a mental map of your behavior. That's why emotional changes stand out. A slower walk. A different tone of voice. A sad expression. A change in routine. These things may seem insignificant to us. But to a cat they are important clues. And those clues tell your cat that something is different. But noticing a change and caring about it are two very different things. This is where the mystery becomes even more interesting. Scientists have discovered that cats can recognize human emotional signals. They can distinguish between positive and negative facial expressions. They can detect changes in body language. They can even respond differently to certain tones of voice. In other words, your cat knows when something about your emotional state has changed. But recognizing an emotion is not the same as understanding it. Your cat doesn't know about heartbreak. It doesn't understand grief, stress, or financial problems. Yet many cats still react when their owners are upset. What? If cats are supposed to be independent animals, why would human emotions matter to them at all? The answer would completely change what scientists believed about cats. For years, people believed cats formed weak emotional bonds with humans. Then researchers performed studies similar to those used with human infants. The results were astonishing. Many cats showed signs of secure attachment to their owners. When separated from their favorite person, they became stressed. When reunited, they became calmer and more relaxed. Suddenly, decades of assumptions began to fall apart. Beneath their independent appearance, many cats had formed genuine emotional connections. They weren't simply sharing a house with humans. They had become attached to them. This discovery changed the way scientists viewed cats forever. But the next finding was even stranger. Because researchers began to suspect that cats weren't just noticing human emotions. They might actually be responding to them. No one knows exactly what a cat is thinking. We can't hear its thoughts or see the world through its eyes. But scientists can make educated guesses. Your cat constantly monitors your behavior. It watches your face. It listens to your voice. It notices your posture and routines. When those things suddenly change, your cat notices immediately. It may not understand why you're crying. It may not understand the reason behind your sadness. But it understands that something unusual is happening to a person who plays an important role in its life. That realization alone may explain why some cats stay nearby during emotional moments. But perhaps the most surprising part is not that cats notice our emotions. is that they may care more than we ever imagined. So what does your cat think when you cry? The honest answer is that nobody knows for certain. But science has revealed something remarkable. Cats pay attention. Far more attention than we once believed. They observe us every day. They learn our routines. They recognize our emotions. And they notice when something changes. Maybe that's why your cat quietly sits beside you when you're sad. Maybe that's why it watches without leaving. Maybe that's why it suddenly appears during your most difficult moments. Not because it understands every problem in your life, but because it understands that something is wrong. And sometimes that may be enough. But if cats can recognize human emotions despite being so independent, imagine what one of the smartest birds on Earth can do. Because the next animal we're about to explore can remember human faces for years. And what scientists discovered about crows is almost impossible to believe.